All right, my fellow Franciscans, like it or not, you will have to listen to me again today. But I promise this will be the last time for at least another year. Now, I want to begin today's homily with the first verse of the Psalm 107, which says, "Oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good, and his mercy endures forever." And why would I want to do that, you ask? Because they are true words, and it's only right to acknowledge God's goodness and mercy, as the second verse so emphatically says. Let all those whom the Lord has redeemed proclaim that he redeemed them from the hands of the foe. And all of us have indeed been redeemed by God, so it's our duty to say so. That takes us to the reading of Paul's letter to the Colossians, where he unequivocally declares, "So, if you have been raised with Christ, seek the things that are above, where Christ is, seated at the right hand of God. Set your minds on things that are above, not on things that are on the earth. For you have died, and your life is hidden with Christ in God." And that's the very reason why we need to offer up those first two verses of Psalm 107. We have both died with Christ and been raised with him. Consequently, we are enjoying his goodness and mercy, which means we absolutely need to get our act together and stop living for the things of the world. Stop concentrating on earthly things and concentrate on heavenly things, where Christ and our rewards are currently located. Remember Jesus' caution on the matter in the Sermon on the Mount, where he says, "Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon the earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt or ruin, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt or ruin, and where thieves do not break through and steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart also be." And that comes from Matthew 6:19 to 21. And it's the gospel truth, my fellow believers. Wherever we have treasure laid up in the bank or under our mattresses or buried somewhere, that's where our focus will be, because that's how our treasures work on us, pulling us toward them. And we all know that we can't take any earthly treasure with us when we die. So why spend our lives amassing stuff we leave behind? That makes no sense. Oh, I know we all long for and are entitled to nice earthly things, but it becomes a serious problem when we start living solely to acquire them. We also need to remember this other advice from Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount, where after showing how the flora and fauna of the earth live very contentedly with God's help, no fussing and fighting, no worry. Excuse me here, man, let me change this page. Never very good at changing pages. No worry and anxiety, having whatever they needed to survive. He warned, "But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you." And we all know that comes from Matthew 6:33. Yes, friends, the Lord God Jehovah, our Creator, is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent, which means he knows what we need before we even do, and also has the means to provide whatever we need whenever we need it. So there is no good reason to be running down the perishable things of the world, like money, power, and the many other things that the world considers important and or necessary. Excuse me. And when we claim to be true and sincere believers, but still live for the things of the world, then we are merely hypocrites, like Jesus said of the Pharisees, the Jewish leaders who talked a good talk, but never walked it. How can we say we've been redeemed by God, sanctified, justified, reconciled, and all those wonderful benefits we receive through Christ's sacrificial death and wondrous resurrection, and merely pay lip service, even that, to his life-giving word that contains life-saving advice? And if we believe, as Paul says to the Colossians, when Christ, who is in your life, is revealed, then you will be revealed with him in glory. Then we also need to do as he says, put to death, therefore, whatever in you is earthly, fornication, impurity, passion, evil desire, and greed, which is idolatry. And I don't know if it's by chance or on purpose that today's gospel also contains Jesus' words on that most grievous trait, greed, that is currently spreading like wildfire through our society. Jesus said to the crowd, take care, be on guard against all kinds of greed, for one's life does not consist in the abundance of possessions. Unfortunately, though, in spite of the many warnings, many of us believers still run down possessions. Most of us have houses filled with stuff that we never use, and often don't even know that we have them. But at one stage, we thought they were oh so necessary. Friends, please, let's take serious notice of the parable that Jesus spoke after warning about greed, where the rich man had much produce, but nowhere to store it. Then the marvelous idea came to him to tear down everything and build anew, so he could have space to store all his goods and riches and relax and live a life of luxury. But God said to him that same night, you fool, this very night your life is being demanded of you, and the things you have prepared, whose will they be? Now, that's a very good question, my brethren, one that we should perhaps seriously ponder if amassing earthly stuff is in our blood, or nowadays I guess they would say in our DNA. And Jesus concludes the parable by saying, so it is with those who store up treasures for themselves, but are not rich toward God. And you know what? If Jesus says that's how it is, then that's exactly how it is. So please, in closing, let's remember that we can't take anything with us except our spirit, and thus try to be rich towards God, building imperishable rewards in heaven. And don't allow the enemy to bamboozle us into running down the perishable things of the world. No, that's wisdom to the nth degree. Much love.